Hello there. Welcome to Fire and Hammer Evangelism Ministry. Thanks for stopping by today. Although this has been addressed a few times in the past, I'd like to touch on just a little bit different topic today and say that simply, yes, the Old Testament does still count. This is in response to a certain faction out there. You may have already heard about it. It says, Jesus abrogated the entire law. We don't have to think about the Old Testament anymore, only his new law of love. And certainly love is a great thing, and we must love. I have spoken in the past about what is the right way, according to the will of God, to correctly love in a way acceptable to him. That way being by the observance of the Ten Commandments, whereas sinners, when we were lost and unsaved, the Ten Commandments stood to condemn us of our guilt and to open our eyes to realize that we were guilty and to draw us to Christ for salvation. In our saved, ongoing life, the Ten Commandments do stand as guides, as signs, as guardrails to keep us along the correct path. We cannot just make up our own way about how to love. But I'm not talking about that today. What I'd like to point our attention towards today is this. If the Old Testament is entirely abrogated, then do we no longer quarantine to slow or to halt the spread of disease? Do we no longer use sanitary methods of disposing of human waste? A lot of the Old Testament does still stand. Now, of course, we do not give animal sacrifices at the temple and those sorts of things, okay? There is the ceremonial law, which does not necessarily stand for us as Christians today in the New Testament age, let's say, but everything else does still stand, okay? We don't have to obey the parts where it says, don't eat catfish because they don't have scales. Don't eat rabbits. We're free to eat whatever animal life we want to eat, so long as it is, not poisonous or dangerous to human consumption. Christ himself said that it's not what goes into the mouth that defiles the man, it's what comes out of the mouth, because that proceeds from the heart, and thus, it says, he declared all foods clean. If you like catfish, knock yourself out. It is not going to condemn you in the eyes of God. But now those other things, okay, the sanitation laws and such, they obviously still apply today, and they come from the mind and the heart of God himself, who gave them in the beginning. So how can we say the Old Testament is entirely abrogated, don't worry about it, just go around loving people, while at the same time, in the same breath, we say, why, yes, we still obey such and such. Okay? Now, parts are abrogated, parts are disposed of, parts are no longer for diligently obeying today, but other parts still are. So let us be clear on that. Yes, the Old Testament does still stand for us as Christians today. Not in its absolute entirety with all of its 613 laws, but most certainly in the Ten Commandments. Let us not forget that. We must not think that we've come up with better ways that are still acceptable to God. These are God's ways of fulfilling the law of love.